This is a story of a young man named John Spencer. John lived an average life. He was a man of few words who existed behind the luminous glow of his laptop screen. A man who lived in the social confines of his house, whose only communication with the outside world was through social networks. Each day he would wake from a 7-hour slumber, make coffee, and await the repetitive nature of his daily routine. But what John didn't realize is that this day would be like no other day he had encountered. Today would be the day where John forgets he can get the triple word score in his virtual Scrabble tournament. But of course, there were more important things to worry about. John felt miserable, so much so that he couldn't continue listening to the sounds of cellos that plagued his kitchen, so he got up from his chair and switched the radio off. The unmitigated silence that followed was unnerving, and John couldn't help but fill that silence with the sound of turning newspaper pages. Not that the sound of Facebook notifications weren't breaking the silence already. John continued to search through countless email reminders and paperwork, yet one message in particular caught his eye, and he proceeded to open it. "Hey John, how are you?" the email read. "Looking forward to our meeting tomorrow. There's a book I need for English. Should be ready for me at the library. It's called The Narrator, and tell them I sent you." John left his house in a hurry, contemplating the prospect that he would soon have a better relationship with his long-term friend Lucy than he currently has. And then his moment of curiosity was abruptly stopped by an annoyingly timed phone call from his father.
Hello? Hey Dad, how are you doing?
Even despite this hiccup, John picked up his phone and answered the call. Most of the time, John enjoyed talking to his dad, but knowing that this conversation was going to be about his recently received bad grades at school, he wasn't overly pleased. Unfortunately for John, his dad hung up on him, leaving John feeling even worse than he previously was. Every weekday for the past 3 years, John would wear his ruffled coat and striped grey scarf as if to maintain his image. Loosely bound around his neck, his scarf represented an openness to the world, yet its knotted core reflected a closed and troubled soul. This gave John a sense of security and warmth, in a world where he felt like the last star burning out in the galaxy, yet it was still only a scarf. John approached the traffic lights with a sense of fearful eagerness. Something doesn't feel right about this day, he thought to himself. Maybe it was because it was a break from his normal routine. Or more likely, it was because he had forgotten whether or not he had locked the front door. After pressing the button, John waited for the green man to appear, anticipating its arrival. It was small details like these that set John apart from his peers, not that his unique qualities weren't affecting the course of his life or anything. Confused, concerned, yet content, John continued his journey to the local library, which was less than 10 steps away. John decided not to close his umbrella, as he felt, what's the point? It'll still be raining when he comes back out. John exited the library with the narrator book in hand. He lowered his umbrella and couldn't stop himself from taking a peek inside the book. He scanned both sides and took note of the puppet-like strings that sat on the front cover. John then began to read the first page. This is a story of a young man named John Spencer. John lived an average life. He was a man of few words who existed behind the luminous glow of his laptop screen. This seems awfully familiar, John thought to himself as he quickly flicked through the book's remaining pages. Distracted from everyday life, John continued to read the book, ever turning the pages with increasing ferocity. And then he skipped to the book's final pages. John was shocked to discover that the unfolding events of his life had been recorded in this book, yet the final page was blank, an abrupt and broken end. John flicked through the pages faster and faster, until he reached the last line.